In this exercise, which is going to be exercise 4.1, we're going to need to create a new folder. We have weeks 1, 2, and 3 already created. We need to create a new file that will hold exercise 4.1 bold and italics text. This is a very simple, straightforward text that we're going to get from this CodePen exercise and move on to our GitHub. It's as simple as copy and paste. For the most part, I think all the parts, you're going to be adding strong and emphasis tags to the text to make bold and italic text more readable in this large piece of text. The way to get this file going is let's create a new file. I'm already logged into my imed1416.github.io. That's my username.github.io. You should be in your username.github.io page. If you're not there, or if you just got into GitHub, make sure that you find where your repositories are. Click on the repositories and choose the one for this class. Next, in the assignment, we're going to get, like I said, the CodePen exercise text. You can click on this link, the underlined CodePen exercise text, and see what's going on in the page. Hopefully you see it in the same way that I do. That is, that you have the HTML on the left side and you have the output in the right. If you don't see it this way, you can click on Change View and make sure that your editor layout is the one on the left. You can work any way you want. It's just that some of these are not conducive to the course, so I stick usually to the link on the left side and just save that as it is. I don't need to change that. I'm going to minimize the JavaScript space. I'm just clicking, holding, and dragging down that line. And same thing with the CSS. This is all HTML. You can do this one of two different ways. You can do everything here, which I recommend inside of the CodePen, because any tags that you add, you'll be able to see right away what's happening. Or you could just bring it over to your GitHub, but then, like I said, you'll need to reload. You need to jump around a couple of hoops. In this case, though, we can just stick to what we're doing here. Let me get you started. If you are following the directions at the bottom of the assignment, it says to add 2 instances of strong text to the article. Surround the following word groups with strong and mimic the image above. So the image, this image right here, it's telling you that in the end you're gonna, polar bear for example, it should be bold. The white bear at the bottom should be bold. There's several instances of italic text that's emphasized right here, for example. The list below tells you what it is that you're going to be adding the bold and emphasis to. So there's only 2, the polar bear and the white bear, that will be bold, and all the rest that are noted here are going to be italics. Let me get you started by showing you. I'll do 1 of the bold and then I'll do a couple of the emphasis so that you can see what's going on in this assignment. So in the end, the polar bear, it's already there, the H1, the Wikipedia Free Encyclopedia doesn't change. This polar bear, however, this is the one that's going to be the first bold. And it's going to be like this. I'm going to click on the HTML just before the word polar, open up a bracket and type in the word strong and close the bracket. Both of these angled brackets to say everything that follows will be strong, will be bold. And you can tell that it just does that for everything that follows, including the headings that probably are already bold, but we don't need to mess with those. Since we only want the word polar bear to be strong, I'm going to click right after the R in bear, open up an angle bracket, and do /strong. That means this is the end of the strong stream. And that's what happens. The polar bear is now bold. Everything else remains as it was before. Do the same thing for the other item that needs to be bold, and that's the white bear at the bottom of the page. In the meantime, let's see what follows is going to be, we're going to add emphasis to all of these all of this text. Most of these are scientific terms. Ursus maritimus, which sounds like a sea bear, etc., etc. But let's go and find at least this first one. It's in parentheses, Ursus maritimus. I hope I'm not terribly mispronouncing that, but it's right there, right after the polar bear strong text. And since we're going to be adding emphasis, it's going to be the same process. It's open bracket, EM, however, for emphasis. This will tell everything after the brackets to be italicized. Now, everything after the EM is italicized. We only want the term Ursus maritimus, and so at the end of those words, I will open up a bracket and do a /EM. That means that's the end of the emphasis. On the right side now we see that we have polar bear in bold and we have Ursus maritimus in italics. It's an emphasized text. The list will then tell you what other terms you need to find. That Ursus, Arctus, whatever. That's a lot of science. This is not what you signed up for, right? But if you are like me and are not necessarily apt to be looking for lots of stuff, well, let's see. I'm gonna copy this Ursus. I'm just I can right click and copy. Go back to the pen and I'll click somewhere here. Press Control F for find, and I'm gonna paste that Ursus. You could also type it in. So it tells me, oh, it took me all the way down to the Kodiak bear, and this is the next emphasized term that I need to highlight. So just before the parentheses, I'm going to type in the bracket EM, which just means starts to emphasize everything after. And I know it's Ursus, Arctus, Middendorfi, something. And right after that, we can do the bracket /EM. And now only those words will be emphasized. Be sure that you find the rest of the terms. There's about 15 of them, I think, and do the emphasis for this page. Now, I would, since hopefully you have a CodePen account, you can click on Save, and it'll save to your file inside of here. This one will save to mine, but the way to get this to GitHub, we're going to click on the anywhere in the HTML window, press Control A, that selects all, and then right click and tell it to copy. We'll now switch to our GitHub page to make that page that we were talking about, and let's create a new file, and that is an Add File menu, and say Create New File. I said earlier we need a new folder. This is where you start to create your new folder. I will type in the words week 04 and then add a slash. That says this will be in this folder called week 4. The name of the file that we're working with, well, let's call this polar bear .html. Below where it says edit new file, be sure that you're right next to the number 1 here. That's going to be the first line. I'll press Control V and that pastes. Where it says no wrap, I can click and ask for a soft wrap so that I can see what's going on, and you'll see that the code that was already there, the heading that was applied to polar bear comes in, the paragraph from Wikipedia, etc., and the strong polar bear plus the EM Ursus maritimus and the other one we did are coming in. Now this is just so that we can get this file created. We will accept this commit new file, create polar bear, etc., and click on the green. For the rest of the assignment, be sure that you have all of your items italicized, that you have all the text that is ready to be published copied. That is, once you add all the other codes, press Control A to select all. You can right click and copy. You could also press Control C on your computer, Command C if you're in a Macintosh, and then come back to your file. If you have already saved it, you can click on it, wait for it to open. I'm having AT&T issues. And then click on edit this file, this pencil on the right side. then your change text, you can press Control A, that selects everything, and then press the backspace to delete it. If you are sure that you copied your file, press Control V to paste what you have. Once again, if you need to see what's going on, click on the soft wrap, and when you're ready for this file, click on Commit Changes, and that will save it. This will eventually publish in your repository, whatever your username is, .github.io/week04 polar bear. I'm going to highlight all of these words. You could also type them out, but I like to highlight all those and tell it to go to that page, and then it takes me to the actual published page. This is the URL that you're going to be turning in for this assignment. I would copy it. You can right click and copy, press Control C to copy, and then in the assignment, when you're working on this, make sure you're inside the assignment, bold and italics text, and toward the bottom where it says assignment submission, write the submission and paste what you just copied from. I'm clicking inside the window and I'm pressing Control V to paste, and here's the link, and click on submit to submit the URL for a grade. I can't click submit, it'll give me an error, but you do that and we'll go on to the next assignment from here.